Let's talk about the Green Party. Yes, folks, it's election time here in Ireland in just a few days, and I did promise you some election coverage, or at least my thoughts on the election and the runners and riders. And unlike Irish politicians, I actually deliver. Now, let's talk today about the Green Party, or as some people affectionately know them, the Watermelon Party. Yes, green on the outside, red on the inside. Now, of all the parties in Irish politics, in mainstream Irish politics, I think the Green Party, as far as I'm concerned, seems to attract in more than its fair share of, shall we say, well-meaning, idealistic idiots, and a fair share of dyed-in-the-wool communists, Marxists of all different stripes, shades and hues. They are the junior coalition partner in the current government and have been for the past 4 years. And they were led initially by this man here, a long-standing politician, Eamon Ryan. You may remember Eamon Ryan from such dazzling moments as, well, the time he fell asleep in Parliament.
Minister Eamon Ryan. Minister Eamon Ryan.
Eamon.
And this.
Let's get every south-facing windowsill in this country and let's plant our seeds in the next week so that if there is any supply crisis in fruit in 2 or 3 months' time when this really hits hard, we'll have our salads ready to go.
Yes, south-facing window boxes. The answer to food shortages during the pandemic, at least according to the loony lefty Green Party. But not only does the Green Party in Ireland seem to attract in the world's greatest orators, it also attracts in some of the world's greatest dancers. Check out these moves.
It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA.
John Travolta, eat your heart out. I think Eamon Ryan should have been cast in the lead role of Saturday Night Fever based on those moves. I especially like the bare feet. Wonderful touch. Do you want to see that again? Yes, you do. Roll it again, Colette.
It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA.
Now, when Eamon Ryan and the Green Party in general weren't falling asleep in Parliament or coming up with harebrained schemes to grow our food supply in window boxes, or even dancing down the street with all their friends, well, they were busy doing other things too. Yes, they're a multifaceted party, you see. They were busy doing things like slapping carbon taxes on pretty much everything ordinary people, the poorest people in society need, like home heating oil, coal, and they banned turf. Yes, Irish turf no longer a thing, something, a staple from Irish history and Irish heritage going back centuries and centuries. And immediately upon banning turf here in Ireland, we started importing peat from the Baltics, from Latvia. Yes, because that's the kind of joined up green thinking we get from the Green Party in Ireland. Which brings me neatly along to another of the Green Party's big brain schemes, the deposit return scheme. You see, we here in Ireland had already a quite effective system with refuse, where we would put certain items into normal bin and other recyclable items into a green bin. And then the company would come along and they'd take them in different days, or they'd take them at different times, and they could be segregated and separated. And therefore, we were all doing our bit. But no, it was decided that wasn't enough. The new plan, it seems, was they were going to jack up the price of everything, i.e. more tax for the consumer, more money in the government's pocket. How convenient for the exchequer, a cynic might think. So having slapped on the extra tax, surcharge, the theory was you would then bring back all of these items that they had gouged you on, price-wise, to these machines here in the various shops and supermarkets and outlets, and you'd feed them into the machine and you'd get a ticket. It gave you your money back. You'd go and spend it in the shop. But the big brains behind this new scheme didn't seem to give a damn about the elderly who perhaps couldn't get out so easily to the shops, to the machines, or perhaps people who got a home delivery. Again, they'd have to make a separate trip now to the store or the outlet to feed their little plastic bottles in, or indeed people who had a disability and couldn't physically get out to go to these outlets in various places, who had previously put their things in the green bin, doing their bit. No, nobody seemed to give a damn about them. It was all about gouging people for extra money on the product. It was all down to the money again. A cynic might think. So there was no need for all these green bins. What? What did I do with my green bin? Well, I burned it, of course. Well, a guy's got to keep warm somehow. So Eamon Ryan decided to resign as leader of Ireland's Green Party in the middle of this year as the government lumbered on into the dying embers of its tenure. Some might suggest that saving the planet just got too much for him. Others have suggested that he's gone off to start a dance school somewhere. I was thinking, well, maybe he just wants to catch up on some sleep. But then I remembered, no, he gets plenty of that, even when he's at work. And then I thought perhaps there's a remake in the offing of Saturday Night Fever, possibly Dirty Dancing, and he might be up for a part there. Any of these things could be quite possible. Anyway, he got gate and they had to have a new election and appoint a new leader, which they duly did. Step forward, Green Party Minister for Children, King of the Comb-Overs, Roderick O'Gorman. Or as I like to call him, the man with the wavy hair. Wavy hair? Yes, it's waving goodbye to him. Now, the King of the Comb-Overs is a title that used to be held by long-standing politician and leader of Fianna Fáil, Micheál Martin. But, well, let's just say, in his case, the tide went out. Now, as seems to be a common theme with the Green Party, where it seems making utterly daft decisions is the norm, they managed to pick as their new leader one of the most unpopular politicians in the whole of the country. And given some of the characters we have in Irish politics, that's really saying something. Roderick here was not only Minister for Children, he was also the Minister for Integration, so he had a lot of power and influence in Ireland's immigration debacle, which is ongoing. And he also seemed to be fitting right in with what seems to be a new trend, a new tradition here in Ireland, that we appoint a childless homosexual as Minister for Children, because not only is Roderick himself of that ilk, but the previous Minister for Children, Catherine Zappone, was also a childless homosexual as well. So I think there's an interesting new tradition being formed in that particular department. But the facts are what they are. So as to that part of his portfolio, how's Roderick performed as Minister for Children? Well, a bit like this. Yes, heady stuff indeed. But Roderick didn't stop there. No, his genius extends even further. He's a man of many talents, and he's a man who likes to tweet. And indeed, he's become rather famous in Ireland for some of his tweets.
You serious?
No, I didn't mean that tweet. I meant these tweets, the ones where he invited pretty much the whole entire planet to come to Ireland and get free stuff. But I know what you're thinking. What possible difference could a little tweet make, or even several tweets make? Sure, who reads tweets anyway? Well, here's how Ireland's immigration figures went shortly after that. Of course, as you could probably imagine, sending out a bunch of tweets like that, and no, I don't mean the Humza Yusuf as a ride one, I mean the other ones, marked Roderick out to all and sundry as something of a bellend and a man of somewhat poor judgment. But of course, like the typical modern day politician, would he ever admit that he might have made a slight error, a slight mistake? Of course he did not. He came out and defended his tweet to the hilt. Yes, it seems the Green Party can engage in the most ludicrous of policies and actions, and yet defend them to the very hilt, as if they were the most reasonable and logical courses of action imaginable. But now we find ourselves in election mode, and dear old Roderick has to actually go out and meet the people. Yes, he has to meet his constituents and answer for all his actions. good, bad, and indifferent. Well, how did he get on answering to the charge that these tweets were, let's just say, somewhat ill-advised, as posed by a voter on the doorstep whose vote he was hoping to capture?
That's the truth.
Yeah. How are you?
How are you doing? How are things, Roger? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Sandra.
Yeah. Hi, Sandra. How are you keeping?
I'm all right.
That's good.
Just a bit curious about your policies.
Okay,
I would
yeah.
like to hear more.
Yeah, which
Particularly about immigration. What's the plan and when it's all going to happen?
What's the plan? Well, we'd hope to see it used for accommodation. It'll be tented accommodation initially, and subsequently kind of rapid build
For who?
units for international protection applicants.
The one that you tweeted, invited in your 8 different languages.
No, I never invited anybody. That's a piece of far right rumour.
You didn't send that?
No tweet like that was sent.
Somebody hacked your Twitter?
No one hacked it. There wasn't any such tweet sent.
So that's a red herring. That
Yeah.
never happened?
Yeah, that's
You
right.
did not invite in
No.
8 different languages?
No.
That never happened?
That never happened.
So why have you not defended that?
I've said it every time it's brought up to me on the media, on television, in the Dáil. But these
And have you
things-
looked into where it came from? I mean, that's serious. I mean, that's a huge part of why people are totally against you at the moment.
Yeah, I'm aware.
The children, the tussle of the files, the abused children.
Which files now in
Oh,
particular?
Jesus Christ. Are you really going to deny all of it now? Is that another lie?
No, it's not.
Yes, my dear friends, eventually these lulas have to actually go meet the public. You see, we still have a vote. We still have elections. And these idiots have to eventually come and answer for the sins. And what does our friend Roderick of the Green Party do? Well, it's easier to just deny everything. None of it happened. It's all a figment of your imagination. I didn't do any of those things, and if you think I did, you must be some kind of far-right bigot. But some might say this man may have made some childish errors, but which we can all do, but he's a man of the law. He's a man who has studied law. He's a man with a degree in law. He has lectured in law. He is, at the very least, a law-abiding man who would never do anything illegal. But wait a minute, what's this?
Mr. O'Gorman, can I ask you why you're putting up posters in the constituency when the polling order for the election hasn't even been signed? How's your clipboard, by the way? Yeah? Can I ask why? Are you supposed to be a guard? You know he's breaking the law. Putting up the posters in the constituency, yeah? As usual, nothing to say to the people. And there's his guard of protection there helping him to actually break the law by putting up his election posters before the polling order has been signed. You couldn't make it up.
The video there, and indeed the voice behind the video, was courtesy of one of Roderick's competitors in said constituency, an Irish nationalist contestant by the name of Suzanne Delaney. She was able to go around and film Roderick that evening because she was unable to put up her own posters in the constituency because, of course, that would have been illegal. But not so for Minister Roderick and his Garda escort, who was overseeing the whole situation. Let them eat cake. One law for us, one law for the plebs. But let me finish on this note, and I know what some of you, maybe two of you out there, are thinking. Well, okay, so the previous leader of the Green Party in Ireland was a complete tool, and then the subsequent leader, the present leader, is a complete and utter arsehole. Yes, and you may have a point with that, but what about the person who's leading the Greens to political victory in this election? Who is the director of elections? And are they compos mentis? Well, it's led by Pauline O'Reilly, Senator Pauline O'Reilly. You may remember Pauline O'Reilly from such energetic ads as this.
On the campaign trail, it's good to let out a little frustration. We know that the world over, climate scientists are in despair over our future, but candidates on the campaign trail won't have an honest conversation. They don't care about nature, they care about voting. This election is keeping up like no election in the past. It's time to fight for democracy. It's time to get in the ring. Vote number 1, Pauline O'Reilly, to defend climate, nature and democracy.
Yes, I almost felt that. Almost. But that name, Pauline O'Reilly, Senator Pauline O'Reilly, that's a name to conjure with. Where do I know that name from before? Oh, yes. Isn't she the person, the lady, who wanted to take away my freedom of speech? But for my own good. Yes. Now I remember her. She's the one who wanted to do that.
When you think about it, all law, all legislation is about the restriction of freedom. That's exactly what we're doing here, is we are restricting freedom, but we're doing it for the common good. You will see throughout our constitution, yes, you have rights, but they are restricted for the common good.
Yes, for the common good, you see. So she'd quite happily preside over a judicial hearing that would send me and quite possibly you off to Siberia, off to the gulags, or for 20 or 25 years hard labour breaking rocks for the common good. And she's the director of elections for the Green Party. So you think, no, the nonsense can't possibly get any worse. These people can't possibly become any more unhinged and detached from ordinary, sentient, logic human beings. But they are the Green Party. Not one vote. Not one vote. Tell all your friends, tell your relatives, tell your spouse, tell your wife, tell somebody else's wife. Not one vote to these nut jobs, these whack jobs, these imbeciles. They're the crazies. The Green Party is like some kind of ubiquitous magnet for loonies, for loony people, nonsensical people, people with no ability to join up thinking, to join the dots. That's where they all go. So you end up with authoritarians, deluded fantasists, and utter Bolsheviks, Marxists, dyed-in-the-wool communists. Not one vote, not one seat. These people do nothing for our country except lead us further into the abyss, into the swamp. I shall be leading the charge all of this week up to the election. Vote. Independent, the best person in your locale, the least infected by the woke mind virus person that you've got with the best chance of winning, and nationalist parties. Vote only for those candidates. All of the mainstream parties, put them aside. Don't even give them a 15th preference. Exclude them because they are quite willing to exclude us.